Welcome, and thanks for joining us for our PNC Women in Leadership podcast. We're so excited to be here. Our 2024 objectives is to foster a culture of active gender advocates that support women in leadership. And the intent of our podcast is to facilitate open dialogue on key topics related to inclusion in the workplace. I'm Natalie Banda. I'm a business strategy and planning director in support of the auto experience.
And I'm Heather Zahorsky, lead development product owner for Core Auto Product. Today, we're excited to have a special guest to join us for a discussion on what it's like to be the partner of a woman in leadership. Our special guest today is Shane Jones, PNC Product Management Director. Welcome, Shane. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you both for having me today. I mean, this is an honor. It really is. I've enjoyed been at USA for about 6 years, and I remember when Women in Leadership was stood up, and I really appreciate all the work we've done. I participated in books, the book clubs, been an advocate, an ally for the Women in Leadership program, and basically my beginnings started with my mother, teenage mother, tremendous leader to learn from, and my grandmother, who kind of helped raise me. Both of them, my grandmother ran the largest poultry farm in the country at the time, and my mother is a livestock broker. So it's heavily populated with males in that industry. So I've learned a lot from them. So as I grew up, went to college, met my wife, Christy, that you guys have talked to recently. We went through a lot of changes and things of that nature. And then I wound up at USAA because of her. So it's exciting to be here and share some more about our story, and just appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Shane. That's great. Well, this podcast topic revolves around building awareness and understanding the flip side of being a woman in leadership. Today, we'll get a better understanding of life as the partner of a woman in leadership. Shane, if you're ready, let's go on and jump in.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, our last podcast featured someone very familiar to you, your lovely wife, Christy. She talked to us a little bit about her story and about how you guys made that decision for you to be at home as the primary caregiver. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the podcast. It brought back a lot of good memories. It's hard to believe it's been that long ago, right? It was a very interesting time. So you have to understand, we were basically newlyweds. Like, we got married right out of college, so we were very young. We started a family a couple of years after being married. So at the time that the story that she shared, our kids were younger. There was a lot going on. It was 20 years ago, right? Plus, and so things have changed a lot since then. But it was very exciting. It was very, I don't know, I got a lot of judgment from a lot of different people that surprised both of us. But at the end of the day, what we focused on was, hey, we're partners, we're problem solvers, we prioritize what was important, and it helped me listen more to her, try to help her and support her decisions, and in turn, she did the same for me. And I think the end result has been good, but going through it was very tough. So anyone listening out there that's going through it, parenting is difficult. Being a partner in general is difficult. So just know you have people at USA that have been through it and are here for you if you need guidance or help, or just need to vent, because everybody's situation is different.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Shane. It's just so nice to see that you guys, despite all of everything happening around you all, y'all stuck together and really prioritized what was important to you. Actually, a study of 2021 census data found that dads make up only 7% of stay-at-home parents, with about a third of those fathers claiming the home and family responsibilities were the reason for them staying at home. Can you tell us a little bit more about the factors that drove the decision of who would stay at home?
Yeah, it's staggering. The numbers are it's humbling, right? We've made progress since we made our decision, but we've got a lot more to go in society in general. For me, it was trying to take the emotion out of the situation. It's very difficult when you're a spouse, a partner, a parent in this case, to not be ruled by your emotions, right? So number one for me was, all right, let's both of us try to just hold our emotions to the side and let's treat this as a problem to solve. And both of us are very good problem solvers. And I had to remind myself, you need to listen to understand. We talk about that at USA a lot, right? And so it gave me a chance to truly listen to understand instead of trying to solve the problem. Because I'm a problem solver. And that wasn't going to help. I needed to listen. So I did that. And then we just broke it down, just like you would a business issue. To me, I just personally felt we were both at the same company. So I understood the landscape there. And with her, I just felt like, hey, you have a much longer and better runway here. I have some options outside of this company, which happen to be out of the insurance industry. And we've done the math. Let's go for it. And it's very difficult because people want to judge you. They want to tell you you're doing things wrong. Shane, that's totally against everything that you should be trying to do as a dad or as a dude or whatever they wanted to say to me. But at the end of the day, I had to focus on our family and what's important there. So to me, that's kind of key now. Anytime anybody asks me for help or guidance, depending on their role, I just say everyone's different. Everyone has to decide for themselves what's best, but you have to keep first things first. And that's usually our whys. And in our case, our whys were our two kids.
And they've turned out pretty well.
So far, so good, but it never ends as a parent. The problems continue. It's just different, you know. But yeah, so far, so good.
I love that. Listen to understand. I mean, applicable in so many ways and in so many experiences. Love that.
Yeah, and I like that you said it that way, Natalie, because also being able to be coachable.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to understand, you might not get feedback from your partner or your business team in this case. It's hard to take criticism. Coaching is the way I look at it, and I'm glad I listened to Christy, and I'm glad I adjusted my thought process and didn't listen to the negative and the naysayers. So that's what I would say to anyone in that situation is don't listen to the crowd. You got to go with what's best for you and your partner and whatever team you're working on at the time.
Yeah, and that why, your North Star is super important. So I love that you hold that so dear to your heart. Christy talked about the exact same thing. I love that you guys have that same true north. Love it.
Yeah, it's critical.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to learn more from you and how you've been an advocate. Can you talk about ways that you've supported Christy in the pursuit of her corporate success? I mean, she's doing pretty well.
Yeah. It's been quite a journey. What I've had to do beyond just the listening to understand is I had to recognize some of the things I was dealing with the kids at the time. Some things you let her know about, and some things you just kind of keep it because she was dealing with enough stress and enough anxiety. I think she mentioned too, I could tell that she had some, not regrets, but some misgivings about possibly missing out on some key milestones. So what I would do is I would record certain milestones. And that way I could share with her something she may not have been present for. And what's happened now is our kids, they get to watch those videos. They get to watch those moments again. And it's funny around the holidays, especially when we have downtime, they want me to pull out those old, I'm old, so it's like VHS tapes and things like that. Digital camcorders. Now it's just easy with your phone. So I would just say that to those that are in my situation at the time. You've got this wonderful phone that you can grab and take pictures and videos of certain moments. And I think that helped her. Like it made her feel part of that process. And in turn, what she would do, which I love, is that she would kind of keep me up to date with what's going on in the working world and things that were happening. And she would ask me to help her problem solve. So it's been great for me as she's developed to be that it's more than an advocate or ally. It's just that trusted partner to say, hey, this situation, how would you handle it? She kind of made me feel like, I'm still relevant, I'm still part of the process. And ultimately, I came back to, corporate America, and now I work at USAA. So it's kind of been a cool evolution.
I love that you tied that in, Shane. I remember resonating with her misgivings and feeling, because I actually had a similar situation where my husband actually stayed at home with the kids for a little while as I pursued my career a bit. And that was just something that I also felt. And so the fact that you're so thoughtful in taking those videos and recording those milestones, and then what I also love on the other side is the fact that the relevancy, and that Christy continued to talk to you and bring you into the workforce, and cherish your ideas, and for you guys to have that thought leadership on both sides, like that's just truly powerful. And I, again, as a trusted partner, even more than an ally, like that icing on the cake. Just love that, Shane.
Yeah, it's so true. And I would encourage anyone listening out there that don't be afraid to mention that. Keep your resume updated. There's something powerful about managing the home, being a parent in my situation. What did I learn from it? And I have odd jobs and consulting gigs and stuff like that. But the things I learned as a parent, having to deal with that, it really does translate to working world. And don't be afraid to make that part of your accomplishments.
Love it. Great advice. The United Nations actually deemed gender inequality as the greatest human rights challenge of our time. It is clear that by stepping out of the gender norm and supporting your wife in her career pursuits, you are supporting efforts to bridge gender gaps. So thank you for that. Tell us how you feel about that.
Yeah, it goes back to that emotion thing. It's very difficult to look at the numbers and look at it now 20 years later and say, wow, we could have made so much more progress in this area. And then, of course, now we have this thing called social media that's just 24/7 in your face all the time. So what I do is I just go back to those moments when I made my decision, and Christy and I work together. I always counsel anyone that asks me, right? Take the emotion out, look at the situation, what's best for your situation. And what I'm trying to be more proactive with is encourage, right? Whether it be a mentor, an ally, an advocate, whatever I'm trying to do. And that person that's in that mentee role, like, hey, here's what I had to deal with, but here's what you have to deal with. And then systematically kind of help them see ways they can improve the meter, improve the numbers. It's going to take a village. It's going to take little, highlighting certain success stories along the way to move the needle. And then ultimately what I do with both of my children is they're both in different stages of life. They have different roles, different genders, and I want to make sure they pass on to their generation, and they're the one behind them, the things that I've learned. And that's all you can do. You can only do what you can control. It's like, what do they say? Your attitude and your effort are really the only two things you can control.
Love it. Generational change. There you go. I love it.
Yep.
So you just keep getting better and hope that the next generation does even better than we did.
I got really lucky. I got an opportunity to coach and be an athletic director for 7 years full time, and that's what I would echo. And those kids that are now, LinkedIn, they still call me coach. I still encourage them because they're going through different life changes as well. So it is, you're right. It's the gift that keeps on giving. If you just intentionally wake up every day, just trying to do those things, influence for the better.
I love that coach mentality. You still have that here with us too.
Yeah. It
Well,
definitely helps, I think.
thinking of that, do you have any advice on ways that females can approach conversations with a partner and better express the type of support that would help them be successful?
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that here at USAA we really encourage. I seek out different partners in the organization for that reason, is to help them through that. And what I do consistently in those situations, communication is key. Understanding. So I went through this thing called love language. It was this kind of cool thing that we went through. So understanding your partner's love language, right? Sounds kind of silly, but how you communicate with your partner matters if you do it in the language they understand. So that's key, and everybody's different. So I had to learn to communicate a little better, a little more crisper. So that's one, communication. And then just being transparent, honest. This is someone that you are partnering with, right? This is someone you should trust to share your intimate fears, your concerns. Christy did that with me. She took a chance that I wouldn't judge her. I wouldn't uh, make fun of the situation. You know, just listen to me and don't solve the problem right now, Jones. Just listen to me. And so I did that. And she, in turn, has coached me, right? Here I was thinking I was helping her. She was really helping me get over my fears. And that's the thing is, every human being I've ever met always has fears. And if you can find out what those are and communicate in a way that placates or kind of calms those fears, then you have a chance to move forward. And it's hard. It's not easy, but with every attempt, it gets better.
Wow, Shane, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you. Today, especially, I feel like I got to see a different side and get to know you and your background a little bit better. But thank you for sharing your thoughts today with our listeners. Thank you for helping us to understand what a crucial part you play as a partner of a woman in leadership. Any last thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Well, thank you. Thank you both for taking this time. We all have our normal day-to-day job, right? And I really appreciate that I have people I look up to, because both of you are leaders and both of you have influenced me. So it's really just an honor to be here. I hope this helps others that listen. And if they have any questions or concerns, they can always Slack me, email me. Would love to meet with anyone that wants to talk about their situation, help them along the way, because that's really what women in leadership has been all about since I've been watching it grow, and really appreciate the opportunity.
You're ready to be someone's advocate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. Well, we just want to remind our audiences to join the conversation.